Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Anime Symbol. And today I'm going to be giving you part 3 of What If Naruto was neglected with the Black Rinnegan. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also, guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the vote. Yes, I placed up a new poll, so go ahead, check it out, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. And also remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice, I have 4 channels, links down in the description, so go ahead, check them out and enjoy. And also I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was, created by Mother Nature to protect the universe, so go ahead, check out that over in Making 3. So without further ado or wasting more time, what do you say we jump right into this brand new episode? Begin now, guys. So the last part that we left off, Mito was exhausted by all of the D-rank missions that she has been doing so far, because none of them were truly meaningful to her, and she believed that it was nothing but a big waste of her time. She was really bored of them now, and she was not quite sure exactly when she was going to do some real mission. Kushina, her mother, tried to cheer her up and told her that ever first Jenny had to go through them herself, and including her father, who was now the Hokage. Mito knew that, but they were just so exhausted. We then skipped towards Jiraiya. Jiraiya was the only other person that Minato ever told about his indiscretion. He knew that Naruto was out there somewhere else. However, he's been getting some signs, and some things has been popping up. Jiraiya was not sure, but he's been hearing things, and he wondered if the boy was actually there. If that boy was to return back to Konoha right now, that loving family would be destroyed, and there was no joke about that. Kushina would not stand for what Minato had done, and she would be really upset, truly so. So Jiraiya was trying to fix it. Yes, he was trying to help. The family deserved to be happy. They did not need to be going through anything too drastic. So, he turned his spies on gathering more intel to find out if this boy was truly out there. And if he was, well, he needed to know. He needed to know now. While that was going on, Naruto was training Menma, as Menma found it rather unfair that he could not land a single blow on Naruto. It didn't matter how hard he tried. However, Naruto told him that he was getting stronger. Back then, he could not get close to him, but now, things were different. Menma appreciated that, as Naruto told him to go and watch up. He looked up at Naruto as a big brother, and listened to him wisely. Sometime later, we found Naruto training with a blade, as he was going to be sent on a mission. There was a man that wanted Gato removed from the picture. Maybe he wanted to take over his company and all of that, but that did not concern Naruto. So for right now, he was training shirtless. That is when he came across Karen watching him. Asked her if she liked the view, as she turned her gaze away. The both of them had been here for some time now. They slept on the same bed on several occasions, yet nothing ever happened. As she wanted to know something about that, Naruto basically confessed that he loved her. The way he felt happy whenever he came home and saw her. but to him it was hard to understand. Orochimaru had truly messed with Naruto's brain. Certain emotions was hard to show by him, but his words said all that she needed to know. As the both of them smiled at one another. When the time came, Naruto ventured out. At Konoha, Mito was happy that her team was finally going to be going on a C-rank mission. She was unaware of how horrible this mission was going to turn out. So with that, her team consisting of Sasuke Uchiha, herself and Sakura Haruno made their way. As they went towards the land of Wave, Naruto was also heading there. His job was to kill Gato. The group came across none other than the Demon Brothers. It shows that Mito was the daughter of Minato Namikaze, and Sasuke was trained by his family before they were all eviscerated. They worked together as they were able to take them down, Kakashi coming in at the last moment to show that he was 100% alright. However, Naruto had to take the other way around, otherwise he had to take a ship across the sea. And he was shocked when he came across the group. He sped ahead of them as they remained talking. Naruto came across Zabuza and Haku, as Haku was searching for the enemy, and Zabuza was informed by him that someone was coming. So with that, they got into an altercation. Haku would soon realize that this person was far stronger than they thought, so he created his most deadliest attack, the Ice Mirror, to trap Naruto inside. However, Naruto used his own attack against him, as he was able to take the both of them on like it was not that hard. He was working and moving like a machine. Zabuza ended up ending Haku by accident because of Naruto doing. Naruto did not span a second as he proceeded to end Zabuza as well. The match was then over as Naruto cleaned up the place. As for Team 7, they were traversing, making their way as they were heading towards the land of Wave. However, someone arrived. Kakashi told the team to get back immediately. This person was not normal, and he could feel that. The person was wearing a blank mask, hiding their face. Kakashi took on the individual, but the person was faster. Yes, faster. And their blade work was far better than anything Kakashi could do in terms of Kinjutsu. They clashed against each other and Kakashi found himself on the defensive. Team 7, the remaining members, Sakura, Sasuke, and Mito decided to get involved. They tried to take him down, but he was able to repel their attacks. That is when he vanished, and Mito saw him appear in front of her. Time seemed to slow down, as she wondered, was this it? Was she going to die? Blood splattered everywhere. So yeah guys, so basically let's left off. You guys can switch across the blaze for yourself, and also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs of the other channels, and I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was, created by Mother Nature to protect the universe, so go ahead, check out that and enjoy guys. So yeah, without further ado, or wasting no more time on this, so we jump right into this brand new episode. Begin now guys. Mito was not sure what happened. One moment the blade was in front of her. She saw blood, and then the blade was no longer there. Her mind took a moment to focus on the situation. That is when she realized Kakashi was in front of her, holding both of her shoulders. She blinked in confusion. Sensei? She said to him. Kakashi was sweating. He seemed out of it. The lid of his Sharingan eye even seemed lower than usual. Are you alright? He asked her. Yeah, I'm fine, she said. As she wasn't able to predict or see Kakashi's movements, how he was able to save her. She thought that was it. She thought she was going to die on her first mission outside of the village. Sasuke drew a kunai. Sasuke, no! Kakashi shouted at him. The tone that he used, it froze Sasuke where he was. Sasuke looked over towards his sensei, who shook his head no. Kakashi glanced over his shoulder. There was a nasty gash that tore through the back of the man's vest, starting from his right shoulder going down to the left side of his waist. Blood was running down on his vest. It was agony, but he had to stay strong. Kakashi looked at the blank, face mask individual. He was strong, maybe even stronger than himself. He had to get the kids out of here. He realized this person was not after Tazuna. This person wanted him dead. Mito. His tone was low. Listen to me. I'm going to engage the assailant. I want you, Sasuke and Sakura, to head back to the village as quickly as you can and tell them what is going on here. This person is not after Tazuna, so tell him to run. He will be fine. But Sensei, Mito, listen to me. You're gonna do what I say. No ifs, no buts. If you haven't noticed, look what is in his hand. Kakashi glanced over, as Mito glanced as well. He was holding 2 3-pronged kunai in his hand. Mito reached in her pouch to see that her kunai was gone. The one that her father gave her. 2? She said confused. The other one is mine. Your father gave it to me a very, very long time ago. He took it out of my pouch when I saved you. He doesn't want any one of us to leave here alive. He intends on killing all of us. I don't know who he is, but he is after us ninjas, not the bridge builder. So the moment I engage him, I want you to take Sasuke and Sakura and head back to the village. Do you understand me? This is serious. This is life or death. She nodded her head. She was terrified, but she nodded her head. Go. The moment he said that, he vanished. The individual also vanished as well. Blade clashed against kunai. Mito rushed over. We have to go. Now. What? Where? Sakura said, trembling. Back to the village. Sensei said that we must go and inform them of what is going on here. What? Sasuke said. I'm not Sasuke. This is no time for your arrogance. This is life or death. Sensei said that we must go now. That's a direct order from our sensei. We have to leave, Mito said. She heard the way that Kakashi spoke. The man was terrified. She was afraid herself. She knew Kakashi into her life and she was worried. What if he died? But what if they stay behind and this person used them as leverage? Just like what he did earlier. She couldn't allow that to happen. What about me? Tazuna spoke up. He's not after you. He's after us ninjas. Just run. Run and hide and try to head back to the village as quickly as you can. Go. Now, she said. Tazuna nodded. Sakura looked at the both of them frantically. We have to go, she said, trembling. This guy will use us against Sensei and try to kill him. Sasuke grit his teeth. He wanted to fight. He needed to fight. However, Mito grabbed him by the shoulder. If we don't go now, we might all die. Do you understand what that means? She said to him. Reluctantly, he agreed. With that, they proceed to head off. As for Kakashi, this person was no laughing matter, as he quickly created a Chidori. Kakashi rushed forward, intending on trying to end this individual. Everything that he's been doing thus far is failing. He had to work on something else to get through. Kakashi found himself driving the Chidori forward to pierce right through the individual's body, when an unseen force came out of nowhere. The copy ninja felt his feet leave the ground. He was blasted through 2 trees. Mito heard the collision as she turned. Her eyes went wide as Kakashi slammed on the ground hard. Kakashi groaned in pain as he got up. He opened his eyes as he had to tilt his head backwards. The front of his headband was sliced. The blade had teared right through the metal, carving a long line on his forehead as blood started to run down right into his eyes. The copy ninja tried to get back to his feet. However, he was hit with a force that rocked his entire frame. He slammed across the ground as Mito stopped in her tracks. The other two running to get back, but she stopped, watching Kakashi crash on the ground hard. Kakashi spat up blood as he did not understand where was this force coming from. Around 5 seconds later, he tried to move once again, and another slammed into him. Kakashi bounced across the ground, slamming against the pavement before he slammed through 2 trees and crashed into the last one. He got up on shaky feet when a sword drove right through his shoulder, pinning him against said tree. He cried out, unable to hold back the cry this time. That is when the person removed his mask. Kakashi looked at him, not recognizing this individual. He leaned forward as he whispered something into Kakashi's ear, something that shocked the man. Kakashi looked at him. You're lying, he said. That's not possible. There's a lot you don't know about your own sensei. I guess that kind of make us brothers, given the way he treats you like his own son, when he had one, and threw him away. As Naruto pulled his hand back, however, chains wrapped around his wrists. Don't you touch my sensei! Standing there was Mito. Kakashi's eyes widening in shock. He told her to run. This person was stronger than him, and yet she did not listen. She returned. Damn it, he thought. He tried to move, however. Naruto used his other hand to backhand him across the face. Blood and spit came out of his mouth as his head leaned to the side. Naruto looked over his shoulder. He gripped the chain. He then yanked it forward. Mito's eyes went wide as Naruto grabbed her throat. He then proceeded to slam her down into the ground before he kicked her in the stomach. She was launched. She crashed right through a tree. Mito was in pain. She's never, in her entire life, been hit that hard before. She slowly got to her feet, coughing and wheezing, as she tried to focus on what is going on, when she saw Kakashi was being held by the throat, as a person was holding onto his blade, before he drive it forward. Kakashi eyes went wide as the blade punctured through his chest. Naruto stood there. I'll give you this. I put myself through hell after going through hell by someone else, so that I'll be able to handle anyone that I come across. And despite I'm not using the full function of my eyes, you were still able to keep up. I'm disappointed that you were. That means I'm not as strong as I need to be just yet. Naruto said. Naruto had a strong healing factor. That is the reasons why the cuts that the copy ninja gave him earlier in the battle with that kunai were already gone. However, Naruto did not expect to actually be hurt by the copy ninja. After the training that he did, after what he went through, and especially with the power that is granted to him by these eyes, even though he did not fully utilize them, they say that the training is never done. That is when a monstrous amount of chakra exploded behind him. Sasuke and Sakura stopped running. They were quiet as they ran. They did not even notice that Mito was no longer with them. Before Sakura could say anything, Sasuke ran back, and she was forced to make a choice. Back with Mito. Seeing Kakashi strike down like that, she lost all sense of composure. Red chakra exploded out of her as her fangs extended. Her whisker marks thickened. She then shot forward. Naruto dropped the body of Kakashi. Mito swiped at him as he ducked. She then kicked at him as he stepped back. She threw her hand out as an arm of chakra grabbed him. She yanked him forward. However, Naruto flexed. The arm exploded outwards. He slammed a kick right into her chest. She was blasted back. He landed on his feet as she tossed herself. Like a springboard back towards him, he ducked as she went over him. He reached out his hand, grabbing her leg. The chakra that was around her leg completely vanished. He then proceeded to pull her back and slam her into the ground with a tremendous amount of force. The earth exploded. He then lifted her up and spun and kicked her in the face. She was blasted through several trees before crashing hard. Despite that, she got to her feet though. She growled, getting more angry and angrier. She lashed out towards him, however. He raised his hand. Her body was hit. Boom! The ground exploded, creating a gigantic crater. She was fighting to get up until Naruto landed and placed his hand on her forehead. As the chakra started to dissipate, his Rinnegan started to swirl. The chakra was being absorbed by him. That is when a kunai was thrown right toward his face, as Naruto caught the both of them. He proceeded to toss them to the side as Sasuke came in with a swinging kick. He grabbed Sasuke's leg as he tossed him to the side. Sasuke got up as Naruto was right in front of him. Sasuke jumped back, only to feel a bone-crushing kick in his back. He screamed out in pain. He collapsed face first as Mito was fighting to stay conscious. Naruto walked over towards the body of Kakashi. As he reached for his blade, he tore the remaining headband off his forehead before he proceeded to carve something into his forehead. That is when Sakura arrived on the scene. She was holding a kunai in her hand. She was terrified. Naruto appeared in front of her. She stepped back and fell on her butt, her lip quivering, her eyes watering. The kunai was shaking. However, Naruto simply walked by her. As he then spoke, "Tell them what you saw," he said. With that, he vanished, like he was never there. Sakura started to cry. Yes, she started to cry. Sasuke and Mito finally passed out, their bodies being affected. Sasuke by the kick, because that was no ordinary kick. He could not even move. His spine might be fractured. Mito was out cold as well. The chakra was roughly sucked out of her. Well, the portion that she used, which was already a strain because of her age, and the, not active usage of said chakra. And the dead body of Kakashi lie there, unmoving. Skipping towards Naruto, who reappeared. Naruto was looking down towards his hand. His Rinnegan was pulsating. Upon killing the copy ninja, another useful ability of his activated, which he would use against Konoha when the time is right. It would be mainly against Minato. Perfect way to torture the hell out of him. So far, it is shown that he could repel things by his Rinnegan and control the gravity manipulation to an extent. He could take over someone's body by fighting their soul inside of the escape when he touched their forehead with his 5 fingers. But he could not do that always. Another usage of the Rinnegan was being able to have an army of 6. Kakashi was just added to said army, but he would not use it. Not now, he thought to himself. As Naruto proceeded to walk away, he still had a job to finish. However, he hoped that Minato would understand and dread the day of when he left him in those woods alone after he got rid of his mother. Soon, they all will know. Soon, he will suffer. Time skip. Minato Namikaze was standing in front of a table. On the cold, metal table lied the body of Kakashi Hatake, still dressed in his uniform. Minato, face was set in stone, not a shred of emotions being shown on his face. As he glanced down towards his last remaining student, when the envoys arrived and informed him that something went wrong on Team 7 mission, he was mortified to hear that. When he saw the members being brought back and Kakashi was nowhere to be seen, his body being sealed in a death scroll, it destroyed something inside of him. He was unable to speak for a good minute until he finally gave out orders. Kushina was tending to Mito at the moment. Sasuke was in the hospital. Sakura was with her parents. They said that something was wrong with Sasuke's spine. He did not even fully hear what they said. As he looked down towards the body of Kakashi, it was just supposed to be a simple mission towards the land of Wave. And now, carved into Kakashi's forehead was ODA. That was targeted to him because he was the only other person that knew what that meant. Oda. Yes, the kanjis for Oda was carved into Kakashi's forehead, as in Lucy Oda, mother of Naruto Oda. Minato was shaken to his core. Of all the people, he thought the boy had died. Yes, it was weighing heavily on his conscience if he did, but his life would have been set. He wouldn't have to worry anymore. But no, the boy was alive and was making him know that. As Minato looked down toward his right hand, it was shaking. He tried to calm the nerves. As he looked at his last remaining student, there was no tears. He didn't understand why they did not come. Maybe because this was all his fault. This was karma for what he did. And it led to Kakashi's death. And this was all his fault. Minato thought to himself as he looked at the cold, dead body of Kakashi. Time skip. It was all on fire. The entire mansion where Gato resided, 1,926. That was a number of thugs that Gato had. The place was massive. He also had several of them doing shipments. All the ships were on fire as well, as Naruto had burned every single one of them. His client had told him to erase every trace of Gato. Gato had sent his man after him. Because Naruto had just killed Kakashi, someone that was related to Minato, it brought back some feelings. The darkness inside of him. It was hungry. It wanted more. It wanted him to make Minato suffer more. But he had a plan. He had to constantly remind himself that. He lost control once again. He was blacking out and recovering while he was fighting. By the end of it, the place was painted in blood. He was covered in blood as well, from head to toe, as he stood in the center of the flames that were burning so high. He just stood there. Time skip. Naruto was resting in a body of water, relaxing, washing the blood off himself. He was trying to remain focused. Orochimaru had really screwed up his mind with the constant experiments over and over again. On certain occasions, whenever he became too stressed, whenever he thought about that man that was supposed to be his father, he kind of lose it, and it brought out another side of him. A side that he hated when it take control, because it seeked nothing but death and destruction. It wanted to pillage and burn everything around it. Orochimaru was a reason why his mind was not stable. Thinking about Karin, it made him feel calm, knowing that he had people like Menma and Karin. It stabilized him. It calmed him down because it took his mind off of Minato, someone that he wanted so desperately, to hack to pieces, to make to suffer. As Naruto relaxed, he just needed to calm down. Once he did that, everything would be alright. He just needed to calm down, he told himself. He was finally able to regain control of himself, locking the darkness inside of him away. He knew that his Rinnegan was not normal. His mother background was a bit shady. His mother was adopted. He was able to find links to her past and find out that she was found alone, by herself, when she was no older than 3. And she was adopted by a nice couple. They were old in age, so they passed away when she was older. So he had no connection to his mother background. He was sure that this was not from Minato, otherwise that girl would have had it as well. Despite everything, she was still connected to him, his sister. But he did not feel that way. Looking at her, all he saw was a spawn of Minato, who he could not kill just yet, because he had something planned for her as well. But he did not know where these eyes came from, and why they were so mixed up with the soul. Majority of his abilities had something to do with the darkness of one's soul, and he had no idea what they represent. What was the background? What was the connection? They made him stronger, but he needed to become even more stronger for the trials and tribulations that he had to face. He needed to be able to squash anyone that came across him, to crush them into paste. Time skip. It was a sad, terrible event. The news had came as a shocker. Kakashi Hatake, the copy ninja, was dead. The news had shocked many people. People like Might Guy could not believe it. Might Guy stood at the funeral and cried. There was nothing unmanly about crying for a missing comrade who you just lost. Many believe that this was fake news, but the funeral was packed. Almost everyone was there. All that knew him, all of the Jonins, members of the Anvus. They were there to pay their respect. Mito was crying. Sasuke was in a wheelchair. His spine was fractured, but he will be fine. But it will take a while. Sasuke was feeling hopeless, and so much other emotions, which led to that special chakra awakening and flooding into his eyes. He did not even notice that he awakened the Sharingan. As Kushina could not believe it, Kakashi was gone. Minato had not shed a single tear. Kushina found that strange. She tried to comfort him as best as possible, telling him that it's okay to mourn. However, he's always giving her half statements. She knew that it was a difficult time, but bottling up your emotions, that might be more bad than good. The affair was a sad one. As Minato was there to talk, his face set in stone. Sakura had been shaken by the whole affair. She was terrified. Her parents were not ninjas. The reason why she became a ninja was because, well, of Sasuke. Yes, when she was younger, she was always bullied. Ino was one of them to bully her by her forehead. And she saw Sasuke doing kunai practice once. However, it was fake wooden kunais. He had said something to her back then, when he was able to talk more than just because nowadays things were different. He told her that he was busy because he was going to become the strongest ninja ever. She believed that if she became a ninja too, he would like her. So she started to follow the propaganda, going to the academy and changing herself, becoming friends with Ino. However, their friendship could not last because they liked the same guy. But now she saw what the ninja world was truly about. And it was truly terrifying. It scared her to her soul. Kakashi was dead. Their first mission outside of the village. And he was dead. She was afraid. Minato had not gone into details about what happened with them yet. Everything was just so recent. However, he needed to find out. As painful as it was, he needed to know everything. He was sure that Naruto did not say anything to them otherwise. Mito would have said something already. And he spent time with his daughter to comfort her. And she did not bring up anything involving that he had another child. That would have been the first thing that she would have said. So Naruto had kept that to himself. So, he intended on torturing him, blackmailing him in a way. The envoys arrived a few hours after the funeral. The ones that were sent to scout. They came back with something. It was his 2 kunai knives. The special one that he gave Kakashi a long time ago. And the one that he gave Mito. The both of them had writing on it, spelled out, "They will all fall, one by one." It seems that Naruto was targeting everyone that he cared about, to make him pay for what he did to him. He had to handle this quietly. He thought the boy might have gone away, or that he would have went away, but no, he came back. Minato had no choice now. He had to kill his own son. That was the only way. He already lost Kakashi. He could only thought about how Naruto saw Mito as the one that he actually took in. However, why didn't he kill her? Perhaps he did not know. Yes. Or perhaps it was a part of a bigger game for him. Just another way to make him suffer. Minato could not allow that. After what he did in the past, he knew that this was karma coming back for him. But he had to do what he had to do. First thing first, he needed to call Jiraiya and have him return back to the village. They needed to talk. He was the only other person that knew anything about this situation. And he needed to return now. Time skip. How do you feel? Karen said, as Naruto had told her everything. Better, said Naruto. As I said before, the thought of you guys, it keep me calm. She held his hand. As she looked at him, now what, she said to him. Phase 1 is completed. Letting him know that I'm still out there. To put him in a state of constant worry, wondering when, or if I would ever show up, to expose his secrets to the light, and let everyone know the real kind of man that he is. Speaking of that, has our friend contacted you? Karen shook her head. She has not yet. Given the state of fear that that man is currently in, I doubt that she had the time. I check the rendezvous spot, but she has not left anything by there. Orochimaru has become truly suspicious of everyone, so she has to be careful. The slightest slip-up could end with her life. I know, said Naruto. I'm not trying to pressure her or anything, but I know, Karen said. But you will get him. It's only a matter of time now. No one can hide forever. Yeah, said Naruto. As he leaned over, he placed his head in her lap. She looked down towards him, a tiny smile on her face. What? It's relaxing, he said to her. She leaned her head back. When all of this is over, we haven't talked. What we would do, she said to him. As long as you're here, it doesn't matter what we do, said Naruto. I'll be happy. That made her smile, and it brought a blush towards her cheek. Hey, Naruto, she said to him. Yeah, he said. You remember what we talked about recently? What's that, he said. You know, the whole love thing, she said. Yeah, what about it? I think I love you too, she said. She was quiet, as he felt her body stiff up a bit, because his head was on her lap. Karen had never had the opportunity to express such feelings. For the first few years of her life, she was basically a slave along with her brother and her mother. And then Orochimaru took her and stuck her in a lab. But now she was free, able to experience feelings that she never thought she would have ever had. And she wanted to experience them fully. She wanted to show them. She wanted to revel in them. Well, I love you too, said Naruto. His words, making her tremendously happy. She looked down towards him. As she leaned her head down, Naruto, Karen, they separated as Menma came walking out towards the field where they were. As Naruto pulled himself up, Karen was all blush, as Naruto's face seemed rather normal. Hey, what's wrong, big sis? You look so red. It's nothing, she said, as she proceeded to turn away and not face her younger brother. Hey, he said. What was going on out here, he said, giving them a look. As Naruto picked himself up, nothing, he said. Hey, you know I'm not a little kid anymore, right? Naruto's finger flicked him. Ow, he said, grabbing his head. Well, you're still a kid, Naruto said. As he started to walk away, Menma chasing behind him. Karen felt her heartbeat increasing. It was just going down now. She tried to make a bold move a moment ago and kiss him, but Menma interrupted it. Damn it, she thought. However, she believed she would get a moment like that eventually again. As it brought a smile to her lips. Time skip. At Konoha, Minato leaned back in his chair. They were able to recollect everything that they could. They were not able to tell much, other than a few things. However, this guy, whoever he is, he was far stronger than Kakashi, from what they were able to witness. Mito had used the Nine Tails. However, he was able to subdue her. Something that made no sense. Yes, if he was stronger, he could subdue her, but she felt the chakra being sucked out of her. How did he do that? There was no seal over her body. Minato had Kushina check, and yet he was somehow able to reduce the Kyuubi's chakra over her. That was not possible without sealing. Minato was confused. Sasuke was recovering quite well, as he was doing therapy. He will be back to normal in a few weeks. If the hit was a bit further down and a bit harder, his spine would have been shattered. This person was not playing around. It was because of her status and, well, her Uzumaki lineage why Mito was able to recover so fast. Sakura had been really quiet. Minato had spoken to the parents, suggesting that she went to therapy. In the younger years of ninjas, it is not often that something like this happened on their first time out of the village. The poor girl was traumatized. She was terrified. Team 7 had been disbanded for the time being, until Minato made up his mind on what to do next. Jiraiya had received his message and was returning back to the village. Jiraiya had sent something back with a toad, saying that he also had information. Now that was bringing some curious thoughts in Minato's mind. Could Jiraiya have known about this? Why wouldn't he tell him, he thought to himself, that his firstborn had been out, that his firstborn was back? Minato sighed as he leaned back in his chair. Since the death of Kakashi, he has not shed a single tear. Word has spread around the elemental nation already. He believed about the death of Kakashi, his last remaining student. He could not find himself crying, maybe. It's because he knew that all of this was his fault. And this was karma from what he started all those years ago. He was young. He was afraid. He didn't want to lose Kushner. And he made a bad call. And now, it was coming back to haunt him. And the only thing that he could do was stop it. By getting rid of his firstborn. As much as it pained him to say so. He had to. Otherwise, everything would be ruined. He had to kill Naruto. That was the only way that this could be solved. And he had to be the one to do it. There was also something strange. He did not know the abilities that Naruto possessed, but they were unusual. He tried to have Inoichi study Kakashi's brain to get the recent memories from it. However, there was nothing. It was like the brain was wiped clean. Like there was nothing there. Like it was completely deleted. When one just died, a Yamanaka member, someone expert like Inoichi could enter and retrieve certain information, but not this time, which was truly unusual. Minato had no idea what Naruto was capable of, but he had to find out before he did anything else. Time skip. Both men were sitting down, in a protective location. As they were within Minato's study, the seals prevented anyone from hearing what was going on. As Jiraiya was serious for once, there was no laughing matter to be discussed. With the death of Kakashi Hatake, things were more hectic than he thought. I thought it was nothing at first, but the information just keep on piling up. Putting it together was pretty hard. I'm not sure if he's trying to cover his tracks or maybe he's just nuts, involved in many things, but he's out there. I don't have a specific information on him, but recently, a very powerful man had been killed. His name was Gato. Minato nodded his head. Yes, that's involved. The mission that Team 7 was sent on, the bridge builder had lied on what was truly happening there. It turns out that Gato was running his business through there. You do know about his underground dealings. Jiraiya nodded. He was killed. I wonder if Naruto was the one behind it. Well, now that he's dead, another stronger force has rised up that wasn't able to because of Gato, involvement. And it has completely taken over. I wonder if Naruto was hired by this person and just came across Kakashi and his team by accident. Or if he was studying and waiting and preparing for the longest time now. Minato released a deep breath. I don't know, he said. You're doing it again. What are you talking about, said Minato. I've known you for a long time now. And whenever something out of place happened, you beat yourself up for it so badly. But it's my fault, Sensei, Minato said, raising his voice. Jiraiya was about to say something. Don't tell me that it's not. I was the one that slipped up. I was the one that was going to lose the most wonderfulest woman. But I did not because I did something bad. I chose not to. By taking, Minato could not even say what he did. Jiraiya already knew, so there was no point. I was the one that led him down this path. His mother was going to expose you, said Jiraiya. Maybe I should have let her, said Minato. Instead of what I did. And now, Kakashi is dead because of it. And it's all my fault. Everything. I knew that this would happen, but to take my last student away. What if he had killed Mito? There wasn't anything I would have been able to do about it, because I wouldn't have been there. Everything is my fault, and I don't know what to do now. My firstborn is out there. He perhaps hates me with everything, every fiber of his being, and want me dead. And that's all my fault. And because of my damn mistake, my students, the last one, Kakashi, he's dead. Minato started to think about Kakashi from day one. Upon losing his father, Minato had tried to be there for him, trying the best that he could. And now, Minato felt something wet drop on his hand. Jiraiya placed a hand on his shoulder as Minato was crying. Without even knowing it, tears were leaking from his eyes. The dam was finally breaking as he started to cry at the loss of his student, at his mistake, which was all his fault. But then he did what was necessary because he wanted to keep going with Kushina, knowing that she was the right person for him, and what he had with Lucy was a big mistake. But he could not hide it away from the world, especially when she wanted him to claim Naruto as his firstborn. But he refused, and she gave him a week. And then, he made the move to have her taken out of the picture. Why couldn't the child just keep in his means and not know about it? But he had to confront him. Minato knew that the secret would come out, so he took the child away and left him. And now, he was in tears. It was all his fault. He wiped said tears away. We have to do something, and fast. I've made my choice, and I'm gonna have to live with it. I can't afford for him to blow up my entire life. He has to be stopped. Jiraiya nodded as he was standing by Minato in this one. He was there as well, and he chose to agree with Minato in that situation. So he was as much to blame for not doing anything about it. Yes, he was. So they had to put their minds together to work on a way of stopping Naruto once and for all. Time skip. Karen was making her way to the rendezvous point. As she arrived there was a single strand of red hair tied to the tree. She proceeded to start to dig and dig and dig when she pulled out a box out of the ground. She then opened said box. Inside was a note. As she read it over, her eyes went wide as she read it. She covered up at the position as she wrote a note and placed it in the box. She popped out one of her hair, which was a brighter shade of red than the one that was tied to the tree, as she tied it there. With that, she made her way off, patting down the ground as she did. Meanwhile, that was going on at Konoha. Mito was sitting at the backyard of her house. She was glancing out toward the training field. She was covered in sweat. Her knuckles were bruised and bloody. She's been pushing herself harder and harder because she wanted to be ready for the next time someone attacked them. She wanted to be ready so she can save her comrades. However, it didn't matter how much she said it. The loss of Kakashi was weighing heavily on her. She was one of them who had insisted that he could handle a bigger mission. Her father had told her that it was going to happen either way. But still, now Kakashi was gone. She would never see him again, and it was perhaps her fault. She blamed herself. Her mother came by as she glanced up. As she handed her a towel, she used it to dry her face as she placed down a cup of juice beside her. As she proceeded to take a sip, her mother sat down. I know that it doesn't seem so now, but it's gonna be okay. Trust me, in time, it will be okay, Kushina told her. Thanks, Mom, said Mito, hoping that she was right, praying that she was right. After everything, she really needed it to be okay, because she doesn't know if it was going to be. Meanwhile, Naruto was returning back towards the house after another successful mission. As he made his way, he realized that Karen was sitting there. Menma was lying on the grass as he was asleep. They seemed to have been training. As he walked up there, hard day, he asks. An eventful one. Menma is getting better at controlling his chakra outside of his body. He's come a long way. Yes, he has, said Naruto. Oh yeah, she said. She pulled out the note that she handed to Naruto. Is this? Yes. Orochimaru is plotting on attacking Konoha, along with the Hidden Sand help. He's somehow convinced the Kazekage that it's in his best interest to attack Konoha, despite you-know-who being there. Good, said Naruto, a brilliant smile on his face. This is fantastic. What are you gonna do? She said, looking at him. As Naruto glanced up toward the sky. Well, first thing first, he said as he looked down towards the paper. I'm gonna kill Orochimaru. And after that, the grin on his face. It was a frightening look. However, Karen was not intimidated by it in the slightest. Meanwhile, in an unknown location, the Snake Sanin had been plotting for some time now to bring Konoha down to its knees. The Kazekage and him were talking about bringing down Konoha. However, the man was afraid. He was thinking about the long shot, despite Orochimaru telling him that he had the desired tool to take down Minato. However, the Kazekage was becoming afraid, believing that this would end in a failure. And then what would happen to the sand? Orochimaru did not give a damn about the sand, but he needed the man to trust him for now. Yes, until the time come. However, he was becoming too jumpy. Orochimaru had no other choice. In their next meeting, he's gonna have to kill the man. Speaking of that boy was still hunting him. He had no idea where he is. Sometime he simply fell off the map. Orochimaru had kept his location and information about anything to a close circle of people that he can trust. That being the Sound 4 and Kabuto. They were the only ones because they were involved in the overall planning to get this done. No one else shall know anything else. Yes, Orochimaru feared the concept of fighting that boy because he had no idea the reach of those eyes. You could be immensely strong, but eyes that manipulate or can tamper with one's soul is a truly dangerous thing. So the Sanin had to be prepared and ready, unaware that he had a traitor in his midst, someone that was watching him and reporting back. However, he will find out soon enough. Back at Konoha, Minato just got the papers. The removal of her shinobi license. Sakura Haruno, she quit the program. It had to be done. The girl was traumatized. The only person that suffered something similar to what they suffered was Itachi, when his entire squad was murdered by a masked man. And Itachi ended up killing his entire clan. There were different reasons, but still, the girl was traumatized. Unlike Sasuke and his daughter, she was from a civilian family. And she resigned from the program. She just couldn't face it. So Team 7 was left out right now. They needed one member. Sasuke had recovered. His daughter was recovered as well. Well, physically, but not quite emotionally. Minato did not know how to proceed from this point with them. He was going to allow them to enter anything outside of the Fire Nation. He knew that it might seem, well, strict, but that was the case. They were the ones that were targeted. Minato could not tell them why, because if he did, the truth would come out about Naruto. So he had to play this carefully. And he also needed a backup sensei. Someone to train them. Because the Chunin exams were coming up soon. He had wanted her to participate in the exams, believing that she would be ready by then. But now he was wondering if that was a mistake. And many wanted to see the Uchiha as well. Sasuke being the last Uchiha within Konoha. It was a big hype. Minato released a heavy breath, as he had to go through the applicants of the reserve Genins to find one to place on the team. It had to be done. And he had to place a new sensei for them as well. Because Kakashi was gone, and they had to face that. Meanwhile, Jiraiya of the Sannin has been working double time. And Jiraiya recently got information. Yes, he recently got information that might lead him right towards the boy, as he was heading towards a town where he believed the boy was at. His spies worked fast after all. It seems that the boy was not trying to hide himself. Jiraiya was fully prepared on ending Naruto himself to save Minato the pain. Yes, he was. He was fully prepared to do it himself, as he was heading to this town with the prospect of killing a child, to spare his student and the family the heartache that they would go through. He had to, as he made his way to see if the information that he got was correct. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification as they posted. Remember, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. But I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace, guys.